My name's Benji and welcome to Dice vs Cards. Today we're looking at Horrified, a 1 to 5 player cooperative pick up and deliver game. So you're here as heroes looking to save a village and its villagers from those universal monsters. All of those favourites from fiction and pop culture are here, and it's up to you to defeat a variable number of them to win the game. So let's see how this plays and whether this could be the next game for you. So the object of the game is to work cooperatively as a team of heroes to defeat a number of monsters that you face depending on what difficulty you're playing. So you've got the Wolf Man, Frankenstein and the Bride, the Invisible Man, the Mummy, and for your first game you're going to start with a creature from the Black Lagoon and Dracula. So you'll also pick heroes that are going to have their own special actions and abilities, and then you're good to go. So each monster has got its own objectives and win conditions on them. And each player turn, you're then going to be using a number of actions to either move from point to point or pick up items. They come in red, blue and yellow varieties. And most of the objectives will centre around getting certain types of items and taking them to certain places. So for example, Dracula here wants you to take red items to break down his 4 coffins. Because once you do that, he's then weakened and you're able to defeat him. And the creature from the Black Lagoon wants heroes to come to the camp here and then discard item cards to move this boat up the tracker, which will then expose his lair and make him susceptible to defeat. You can also guide and escort villagers. So villagers are going to be spawned throughout the game, and they'll also be targets for the monsters, but they'll always be spawned at a certain place and require you to guide them to a certain destination. And that will allow you to draw perk cards, and perk cards give you one-off abilities and will help you try and stave off those monsters. Once the hero has taken all of their actions, you'll then draw the top card of the monster deck, placing a number of items on the board where stipulated, and then either a unique monster ability will take place if that monster is in play, or a villager will be spawned, as I've already mentioned. Then certain creatures, depending on the symbols at the bottom of the card here, will then either move and potentially attack. But even if there aren't any symbols of monsters that are in play, there'll always be a frenzied attack, and at any given time there is a monster that's frenzied, and that will alternate any time that ability is used. So they'll move a number of spaces. For this example, the creature from the Black Lagoon will move 1, and then they'll attack, rolling a number of dice equal to the number in the bottom right. So here we've had 2 misses, but this is what a hit looks like. And heroes can defend themselves by discarding items, but villagers can't defend themselves at all. Anytime that a hero is defeated, they'll then respawn at the hospital. And there is also a dice facing that has a unique ability for each monster, and you'll refer to their cards to see what that does. So anytime a hero or villager is defeated, that terror will go up, and you win the game if you're able to defeat both monsters, but lose the game if that terror goes up to 7. So that's how this game plays. What did I think of it? So who is this for? Well, obviously if you're a fan of the Universal monsters, all of the gang are here. Dracula, Frankenstein, the Invisible Man, the Mummy and so on. So if you like good old-fashioned point-to-point movement and pick up and deliver as well, these are some mechanics that hark back to yesteryear. And also, if you're not too fussed about watching villagers being viciously mauled, then there's probably something here for you. So you might want to consider this if you liked Black Orchestra or Mesopotamia. So what the former has that this doesn't is German Patriots, and the latter has some more building elements and then delivering resources. So what are the good things about this game? Well, it feels nostalgic and it's got a theme to boot, but it does so mechanically in a way that doesn't feel dated. This feels like a modern ball game. And probably the best selling point to it is all of the monsters have got their own unique objectives and win conditions. Playing each one really does feel different, and this is where the joy derives from the game, because you get to pick and choose which monsters you want to face up against each playthrough. So it scales very well. It's also fast paced. It's fine as a solo game as well. And it's great that it puts the difficulty levels in your hands. Yes, it gives you a guide, start with 2 monsters, and then anytime you're learning a new one, keep with 2, but then go up to 3 for more of a challenge. But you really can pick and choose how you want to play, depending on your player count as well. So it goes without saying, based on what you've seen, it's got some beautiful minis as well. These are begging to be painted, and the production quality is just brilliant across the board. So what's not so good about the game? Well, it does teeter a little bit on the repetitive. Because of the narrow mechanics, there is only so many different types of things you're going to be doing within that point-to-point movement and pick up and deliver structure. So it really is going to need more and more modules, more and more monsters added to the game if this is probably going to be a long-term classic. And drawing items actually probably takes longer than it should, although it's not onerous because you're sharing that responsibility. If you actually break it down to time spent on drawing those item tiles and placing them where they go, it's probably a higher percentage of time than you'd like whilst playing throughout. So with all that being said, Dice vs Cards are going to give a final score of 8 out of 10. There's just something so engaging and fun about this game, but I really do hope they expand upon it over time. So that's it from me. I'll see you next time.
Frankenstein's monster gets so much hate. The man just wants to get to his woman. Give him a break, for God's sake.